Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Karen Wyville. Take myself off video. There we go. My name is Karen Wyville. I'm the Associate Director for Central Ohio for the Ohio Apex Accelerator at Ohio University. We are doing this presentation today in conjunction with a few other Apex accelerators whom I'd like to acknowledge today. We are doing this jointly with the State of Arkansas's Apex Accelerator Program, the State of Missouri's Apex Accelerator Program, and the Southern Ohio Apex Accelerator Program. Few words of housekeeping. We're asking that you keep yourself on mute. You can ask questions during the event and by putting them into the chat. And then when the presentation is over, we'll go through those questions and you will then have an opportunity to take yourself off of mute and ask any questions you would like to ask. So to introduce our speaker today, I am more than thrilled to have our guest speaker today. She comes to us after serving 30 years in the Army Reserve and is now serving as the program manager for the Department of the Army's Small Business Program Office with the Mentor-Protege Program. I'm proud to present Ms. Gaina Malcolm-Packnett. Take it away, Gaina.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Gaina Malcolm-Packnett, and I'm the program manager for the Army's Mentor-Protege Program. First, I'd like to thank you all for having me here today, and I'm very excited to share with you some information about this program. So let's get started. Again, if you have questions, please jot them down or put them in the chat, and we will get to all of those questions for you. But they'll probably be answered in a slide a little further down. So without further ado, let's get started. Here's my contact information. So if you ever need to contact me, feel free to do so. I do return phone calls as well as emails, and my goal is to ensure that I get back with people within 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, we're trying to get started. There we go. Okay, so what is the Mentor-Protege Program? Well, it is a congressionally mandated program that started back in the early 90s. It started because large businesses were complaining that there were no qualified small businesses out there to do that they could select as on their subcontracting plans. So in 1991, the National Defense Authorization Act established a pilot program which would provide incentives to large business to develop these small businesses that they say were not qualified. And they were looking at developing them in two specific areas. Those focus areas are a technology transfer and general business management assistance. Today, we have over 9 agencies in 30 states that participate in the program. And our guidance for this program is DFARS Appendix I. So what's the purpose of this program? Again, it was created to present a win-win situation for everyone involved, for the Army, for the mentor, and the protege. But more specific, the incentives provided by the mentor firms to the proteges, it enhanced their capabilities. So this is really great because once those capabilities are enhanced, these proteges go on not only to be subcontractors, but prime contractors for some DoD contracts. We also wanted to increase the participation in some of our small disadvantaged businesses, WOSBs, hub zones, and service disabled vet categories as well. But our ultimate hope is that these agreements will foster long-term business relationship between the mentor and the protege firms, meaning it's not just for the 3-year duration of the program, but long-term. So let's talk about some updates that have happened in the program just recently. With the National Defense Authorization Act for FY 2023, I am so happy to announce that our 30-year program is no longer a pilot. It's been codified and made permanent. So we are so excited about that. It also modified the mentor's eligibility. So previously, mentors used to have $100 million in defense contracts the prior fiscal year before they would be eligible to be a mentor. That number has been dropped down to 25 million. So a lot of medium-sized firms are now coming on board to be mentors. It also increased the actual length of the program. During when we were a pilot, they had dropped it down to 2 years. But now it is back up to 3. However, you are still able to extend up to an additional 2 years after that initial 3-year agreement based on extenuating circumstances. So if you can write a justification after your 3-year time period to get an additional year or an additional 2 years, you would have to write that justification up, and it would come in and be evaluated, and then it would be determined whether you were able to get another year or 2. They also added manufacturing and test and evaluation as a form of assistance. So if you need this type of service, that's out there and that's available for you too. It enhanced the data collection. So DoD has some more data that they are collecting on each of these agreements that they collect on an annual basis. You'll be submitting that, well, your mentor will be submitting that information to DCMA in the form of their annual report that they would have to do for them. Also, I am so proud. We heard you, proteges, potential proteges. With this new FY 23, what happened is they established another pilot program, which is known as the Protégé Pilot Program, Protégé Pilot Incentive Program, where the proteges, if you are on a reimbursable agreement, and you are doing activities that are related to manufacturing, engineering, or software development, you as a protege are now eligible to receive up to 25% of what that mentor is receiving. We're going to talk about that a little later on. I know that's really interesting to you. And also it increased post-award reporting from 2 years to 5 years. And what this is they just want to check in with the proteges for 5 years after the program to make sure that they are healthy and that they are doing okay. So there are 3 types of agreements that can happen. The first one is the most popular one, which is the reimbursable agreement. And what that is, the mentor is reimbursed for allowable costs to mentor the protege. These costs can go up to $1 million based on the type of contract. However, the majority of the ones that we are seeing in the Army hover around $650,000. It's up to $1 million because depending on what they are working on, it could be something in the manufacturing realm, and of course, those would be higher. There would have to be a justification for anything over the 650. But mentors, if that's the case, we'll work with them to see what that justification is and go accordingly. The second type of agreement is a credit agreement. And in this one, the mentor will receive small business credits for costs incurred. So versus charging the government back for their allowable costs, they would receive subcontracting credits. Or the third choice is a hybrid agreement. So with a hybrid agreement, you have to do at least 1 year reimbursable and 1 year credit. The third year, I'm sorry, would be your choice, whether you wanted another reimbursable or whether you wanted another credit. DCMA administers the credit portion of all of the credit agreements, and all the reimbursable would be administered by the various program office. So those are our three types of agreements that can be entered into. So for mentors eligibility, I'm going to refer you guys to DFAR's Appendix I. DFAR's Appendix I has the eligibility. That's our guide for the whole program. So not only does it list the mentor's eligibility, but it also lists the protege's eligibility. So if it's something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to check out DFAR's Appendix I to make sure that, first of all, that you qualify for the program. Again, the biggest thing here with the mentor's eligibility, it decreased the amount of contracts with DoD, decreased from 100 million down to 25 million. Of course, they have to be in good standings, good financial health, good character, and not debarred or suspended. Protege eligibility. Again, all of this can be found in DFAR's Appendix I. They have expanded on protege eligibility. Now they've put some information in there about owned and controlled by Native American tribes, the Native Hawaiian organization, or it can just be a non-traditional defense contractor, or if you currently provide goods or services in the private sector that are critical to enhancing the capabilities of a defense supplier, you also qualify. Okay? Again, DFAR's Appendix I. So in our agreements, the Army requires that the mentor utilize one or two or three, however many they would prefer. They utilize these authorized subcontractors, and the Army requires that 5% of their total, they utilize it with one of these authorized subcontractors. So, you know, your HBCUs, MSIs, they've gotten a lot of interns from there to do research for you, to do websites for you, just whatever's needed. Your small business development centers and Apex accelerators, they do a myriad of training. But they are authorized subcontractors along with your MEPs, your women's business centers, and your manufacturing innovation institutes. The Army's goal or objective for the whole program is to directly, we are looking for agreements that support Army programs of record or DoD program of records. We are looking at things that reduce developmental costs or sustainment costs of fielding systems. I do have a whole list of some of our focus areas in another slide, so we'll talk about that as well. We'd also like to increase the success and help those small business transition or move over into commercialization of their product. If you are a SIBR, a sitter, or you're part of the Rapid Innovation Fund, but you don't have to be a part of those things. You can just be a small business and you are working in the realm of one of our focus areas, and I'll get to those shortly. So this is the goal that the Army has for the program. So how do you get started in this whole program? First, the mentors and proteges must come together. How do they do that? Well, there's a myriad of ways that you can do that. We are prohibited, strictly prohibited from pairing mentors and proteges together. And let me explain why that is. We don't want to pair you with somebody that you don't have good chemistry with. And then you have problems, and it's like, well, I didn't like them anyway, and they forced me to work with them. So it's incumbent upon you two to find each other. How can you find a mentor? Whatever line of business you're in, find someone in that line of business. If it's a major defense contractor, I'd suggest you contract their small business liaison and tell them who you are. Ask them if you can do a capability brief and would they be interested in being a mentor for you. Okay. We do have a mentor-protege conference every year. They're all over, so I can't tell you where it's going to be in 25. This past year, it was in Detroit, and we provided a space where there were mentors there that were looking for proteges, and there were proteges there that were looking for people to mentor them, and they went off to the side and they talked. So that's another way that you could find a mentor. Again, I would ask you to familiarize yourself with DFAR's Appendix I because that is our Bible. It tells you all about the program. If the mentor is not already an approved mentor, that's okay. They have to be approved prior to the contract being awarded. But all they would have to do is go to the DoD OSBP portal. They have a mentor protege portal, and they can submit an application there for their approval. Okay. So once they do that, they found a protege. They've gone to the portal, they've been approved as a mentor. The next step would be they would need to do an assessment of your company, right? They're going to look at your engineering and your technical assistance that you'll need and your general business development. You are key in this assessment. If there is something that you actually want to work on, if there is a certification that you think that you need, make sure you mention that to them. Okay. So, they're going to do an assessment and they may miss something, something that you feel that you really need, and you guys need to discuss it, and come up with your solution. And this is how you're going to develop what you're going to be working on during this agreement. Development assistance should align with the protege's strategic vision. Okay. So nothing out in left field. It should align with your strategic vision. Then the mentor will have to actually go out and develop a plan. They'll sit with you, develop a plan. They'll put milestones to this plan, identify authorized subcontractors, identify the type of agreement that they would be interested in seeking, and then they would respond to the solicitation. The Army solicitation is always posted on SAMS.gov. This is the one for last year. I'm not sure if you can still see it if you go there, but my contracting office is getting ready to post the new one for FY25. So that will change. If you contact me, I can give you the link for the new one as soon as they post it. But a key to these agreements, a key to being successful in these agreements is communication, compatibility, and commitment. What do I mean by these things? Communication. Not only do you have to communicate with your mentor, but you have to be open to communication with your program manager. I, as a program manager, will call my proteges to see how are things going. This conversation is between me and the protege. If the mentor has promised you something and it's not happening, I need to know that. I'm not going to go back to that mentor and say, you promised them you were going to do XYZ and you're not doing it. I can ask them a series of questions and they won't know a thing that we had a conversation. So not to say that the mentors aren't on the up and up, but sometimes things happen. And if you don't tell me about it, I can't fix it. I can't help you. And I don't want you to be unhappy in your 3-year term. You got to be compatible with each other. And that goes along with your communication. Nothing's going to come back on anybody because, something happened and we need to talk about it. We just talk about it and then we fix it. So everybody's got to be committed. I know I'm committed to ensuring you become a success. So I need you to be committed as well as your mentor. So this is the Army's process. The KO will post, we have a 2-step process. The KO will post the solicitation for a white paper out on SAMS.gov. That white paper is very general. It will ask the mentor, what are they planning to do? Well, who are they planning to mentor? What are they planning to do? And give me an estimate of the cost. That will be sent in. The proposal will be, the white paper will be evaluated. And if it's something that the Army is interested in, that mentor will be sent a request for proposal. He will then fill out that request for proposal, which would include up to 4 volumes, and their actual cost, not a ROM, but actual cost. And also, they will send that in. A part of this submission, volume 4, is if you are interested in the Protégé Pilot Initiative, the PPI, volume 4 is for you. There's a form that you would fill out as well, explaining what you're going to do with the money and that type of thing. Okay, so those proposals are then sent in. They are evaluated. If everything is good, an award is made. If it's not good, we'll tell you what's wrong. And once the awards are made, it's just like a regular contract. You have your kickoff meeting. Everybody talks, everybody's on the same sheet of music. And then the 3-year agreement goes into execution. During the 3 years, there are some reporting requirements for the mentor. With their monthly billings, they have to submit a status report. They would also, you as well would be required to participate in quarterly program management reviews. And basically, we just sit down and we talk about what you did over the last quarter, how things went, and what's coming up for the next quarter, and do you need any assistance? You may need some assistance from me in trying to get into one of the program offices or something, and we sit down and we discuss that in our program management reviews. Once the 3 years has ended, the agreement is then closed out and we move into the 5-year reporting period with DCMA, where we will track you for 5 years to see how you're doing, and just making sure that that you are healthy. So again, most important, communication, commitment. We all work together to ensure the protege's success. We want a win-win for everybody. As I previously stated, these are the current focus areas of the Army. So if you are working in any of these areas, the Army is very much interested in what you are doing. With our agreements, the mentor must have a letter from a program office stating that that program office is interested in whatever you are working on. It may not be on this list, but if the program office say that you're working on something that they have an interest in, those will be looked at favorably as well. But all agree, every submission must have a letter from a program office. It's called an affirmation letter from a program office, a PEO, or a commander, and simply just stating that this technology will help them address one of their top priorities. Okay, so these are our current focus areas. These are our future focus areas that we're also very much interested in. And there's some more future focus areas that we are interested in. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch over to the Protege Pilot Initiative. This is our new initiative that NDAA 23 not only did it codify the program and made it permanent, but it also introduced this pilot program, as I was talking about. So proteges, potential proteges, we heard you. Okay. So this pilot program provides proteges performing on reimbursable agreements as of 1 July 2023 an opportunity to request funds for projects supporting the advancement of something in engineering, software development, or manufacturing customization in support of our warfighters. The request is limited to up to 25% of the annual budget of the mentor. So you're not getting a part of what their budget. So for example, if they say, hey Gaina, our first year it will cost us about $650,000 to mentor XYZ company. If you are in manufacturing, engineering, or software development, you would then be eligible for up to 25% of that, which is $162,000 you'd be eligible for you to use at your discretion. The only thing you cannot use it for is to pay your payroll. If you need it to pay for bonuses of data scientists, software engineers that you have on your staff, you can do that. But current payroll is not an allowable expense. You can also buy equipment for your building. If you need some equipment to further build out your building, you can purchase equipment. That equipment belongs to you. At the end of the agreement, the equipment still belongs to you. The eligibility for this is based on the nature of the developmental activities proposed. You submit again when the mentor submits their proposal, you would also submit an application and you'll provide a detailed outline on what you plan to do with it. If you're buying something, it helps to put your quotes in there that you've received. If you are getting a software engineer, how much is that software engineer going to cost you? Where are you getting it from? So all of that would be included in your request. Okay. So these funds that you receive under this, again, it has no impact on data rights regarding the technology that you're developing. The proposed amount must directly relate to supporting technology developed by you for integration into a DoD program. There is zero fee. There's a not to exceed amount, and zero fee is there. And you will be responsible for providing information to your mentor so that they can provide it to DCMA for the annual review. Basically, what did you do with the money? Okay. And DCMA would it would be included in that annual report that would go to DCMA. You are also subject to monthly reporting. Again, if you go out and spend 100,000 this month on equipment, and you still have additional left over, when you submit that to the mentor, they will include that in the monthly status report that goes along with the billing, where they would ask for the money for you for that. So it is on the mentor's agreement. You have a separate line on the mentor's agreement where your money would be located. The mentor will assume no liability regarding how you use the funds. So they will review your package just for accuracy and reasonableness. They will be required to sign your application along with the program manager. Um, and they are, because it's on their contract and they will be including it in their monthly reports, they are allowed to request up to an additional 3%. So, and that was that $4,000 off of 650,000. They can request that. So, but they must include a memo detailing how they're going to use the funds, and it's no guarantee that they're going to receive the full 3%. It depends on what's in that justification that they provide. If the protege fails to meet a milestone after receiving funding, the mentor assumes no responsibility for that. Okay. Also, the protege will not receive any additional funding until they have met their milestones. So if for some reason you are off of your milestones, we need to understand why, because that can hold up your funding. We just need to understand what's going on, and uh, how can we get back on track. The soonest way to get back on track. Okay. That's pretty much it. Your use of the funds, again, will not have any effect on the mentor's rating. So what if you create something that don't work? We don't ask for the money back. Okay. These are the current participants again in the actual Mentor-Protege program. SOCOM is coming on board. They're not on board yet, but they are coming on board. So this, what I've explained to you today, if you feel that what you've created is better suited for the Navy or for DIA or for Missile Defense Agency, just contact them, because they have program managers as well, or shoot me an email and I can tell you who the program managers are in the various agencies that are participating. So, and it's okay. Sometimes you will contact me and I may tell you, hey, you're a better fit for DLA. What you have may be a better fit for DLA. So what I would do is just refer you over to DLA in that instance. Okay, so I have completed all of my slides and I am ready for your questions at this time.
Thank you, Gaina. I did not see any questions in the chat. So if anybody has some questions, please go ahead and take yourselves off of mute. You see, Trey, you've got yourself off mute. And maybe we need to come back to him. Jeremiah Landy put his hand up next.
Okay.
Jeremiah? Ah. So it looks like
Anya,
he,
thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask, is there any circumstances where I would be requested to pay to do a CRADA with an Army office?
I'm sorry, what's your question?
Are there any circumstances that I would be requested to pay some money to have a CRADA?
A crater for what? I only administer the Mentor-Protege Program. So
Okay,
if you have a crater, that would be through one of our contracting offices, not through
okay,
me.
not through you. Okay,
Mhm.
I guess it'll be when I come to your office, I'll be there.
Okay.
okay, it looks like Trey has come back. Trey, are you able to speak? And Trey, we're not hearing you. I don't know if perhaps your microphone is not working. Okay. We do have a question now in the chat from Erica. Is there a list of approved mentor participants that potential proteges can access?
There is a list on the DoD OSBP website. If you Google DoD OSBP and go to the Mentor Protege tab, you can find a list of approved mentors. But what I will tell you is if they are already approved, they probably have a protege. That does not mean that they can't have more than one protege. But typically if they are approved, they already have a protege. But don't let that stop you. Go ahead and contact them and see if they would be interested in mentoring you as well.
And then there was another question in there. Should I start my journey with this through Apex? And I can tell you, we can absolutely try to help you find a mentor. We'll teach you how to use things like USA spending. We'll have some of the market research tools that we can work on with you to try to find firms that might qualify in your space. But again, we can't recommend anyone to you. We can just give you that list. And then you got to do your due diligence in talking to them. I always recommend to my clients do a trial run before you enter any permanent agreement. Because
Mhm.
once you're in that agreement, it's kind of a marriage and you want to make sure you get along because
Right.
you don't want to end up in divorce court. So,
Just one other thing, Karen, with
yeah.
the DoD Mentor Protege Program, you are not required to have a joint venture. That's the difference between the SBA's Mentor Protege Program and the DoD program. In the DoD program, you are not required to have a joint venture.
Yeah. And I know you said, I'm throwing in a question before everybody else, I'm sorry, but you said that a mentor can have more than one protege. Can a
Yes.
protege have more than one mentor on the flip
No.
side? Okay, thank you. Next question is this possible for a transportation logistics company interested in DLA?
It absolutely is. And if you will shoot me an email, I will give you the DLA point of contact.
Okay, Kelly, that is good for you. Um, and they want to know, can you please provide a link that announces where the conference will be? I'm guessing you're meaning the Mentor Protege Conference.
Yeah. So I would love to provide you that, but that is still in planning right now. We will post it to our webpage, but you have my email address and you have my phone number, and you can ping me. I would say around February, March timeframe. You can ping me, and I should have an answer for you at that time.
And
I'll
I,
also send it out to the Apex accelerators so they can post it.
yeah, I do believe our Apex Accelerator here in Ohio, at least, that information was included in one of our email newsletters that went out with announcements for that conference. It was a great conference. I got to see Gaina again. All right, do we have any other questions? I'm not seeing any. All right, Gaina, you did a great job.
Well, thank you. And as always, I am here. If you think of a question later, you do have my contact information. You do have access to the slides if you would like those. So please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. And I will get back to you in a timely manner. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, there's someone else now. If I'm in VRE program, can I still do this?
I have no idea what VRE is.
Trey, can you put that in the chat? Because I'm not sure what you're talking about either. And I'm not seeing anything. Maybe, Trey, since your microphone isn't working, you're going to have Gaina's contact information. I am going to
Yes.
send out the presentation to all our attendees, and you can follow that up with Gaina. I want to thank you all for being here today. It was an honor having you here today, Gaina. As always, you are a phenomenal woman. That's all
Thank
I can
you.
say.
Thank you
And
for having me.
yeah, and thank you very much for being here, everybody.